Every civilization tells the same story. Kings on the throne, generals on the field, citizens in the streets. The surface looks simple. Rulers command and people obey. But beneath that story, in every era, there's always been another layer. The quiet network of financiers, advisors, and unseen patrons who whisper directions to the visible rulers. History calls them many names: courtiers, merchants, bloodlines, councils. Yet their role never changes. They are the hidden hand that steadies the wheel when empires shake. In the modern world, the stage is brighter, but the shadows are deeper. Presidents, prime ministers, and parliaments come and go, yet the same interests remain. The same banks fund both sides of wars. The same corporations outlive every administration. The same think tanks write the policies long before elections ever happen. Power, real power, has learned to survive by staying invisible. When people talk about a shadow government, they imagine a single secret council pulling strings from a dark room. The truth is subtler and far more efficient. It isn't one organization, but an ecosystem. Bureaucrats who never leave office. Bankers whose signatures decide the value of money. Intelligence networks that outlast their directors. Executives and lobbyists who rotate between public service and private profit. They don't need to conspire when their incentives are identical. The structure itself does the coordination. Groups like the Bilderberg meeting, the Council on Foreign Relations, and the Trilateral Commission exist in plain sight. They aren't secret societies in the cinematic sense. They are networking engines for the global elite. What makes them mysterious is the silence surrounding them. No press, no minutes. Just closed doors where future policies are tested like chess moves before the public ever sees the board. Their members don't think of themselves as conspirators. They see themselves as caretakers of order, guardians of a system too fragile for the crowd to manage. Then there are the older legends. The Illuminati, the Freemasons, the whispered dynasties whose influence seems to echo across centuries. Whether the modern versions still exist is almost irrelevant. The idea of them has become the symbol of a timeless truth, that power hides best when it disguises itself as myth. By turning suspicion into satire, real influence escapes scrutiny. The hidden hand has learned that ridicule is the perfect camouflage. But what if the legends were only metaphors for a pattern that's still alive? Not a single cabal, but a culture of secrecy. What if the same mindset that once ruled from palaces now rules from data centers and boardrooms? The language has changed from oaths to contracts, from sigils to logos. Yet the result is the same: control without accountability. The ritual is economic now, the altar digital, the obedience voluntary. To see it clearly, we must stop thinking in personalities and start seeing in systems. Power today isn't a person, it's a process. It's an algorithm that feeds on fear, a bureaucracy that perpetuates itself, a network of interests so vast that no single mind could design it, yet every participant benefits from maintaining it. That's why elections change nothing fundamental. The actors rotate, the stage resets, but the script remains intact. Still, history shows that no veil lasts forever. Empires fall when their secrets become common knowledge. The same technology that made global control possible, mass communication, instant surveillance, digital finance, also makes exposure inevitable. Each leak, each whistleblower, each awakened citizen tears a hole in the curtain, and behind that curtain we see not monsters but ordinary people performing extraordinary manipulation, convinced they're preserving civilization while quietly consuming it. This is the story of that curtain, of the mechanisms, meetings, and myths that shape the modern world from behind the public stage. It's a story of secrecy as strategy, of influence disguised as coincidence, and of humanity's slow realization that the hidden hand was never supernatural at all, just organized, patient, and generational. The question isn't whether the shadow government exists. The question is, how much of your reality does it already write for you? Part 1. The shadow state. Every democracy hides a paradox. On the surface, governments appear to change with each election. New leaders, new slogans, new promises. But beneath the surface sits something far older and steadier, a machinery of permanent power that outlives every administration. Bureaucracies, intelligence networks, military commands, central banks, and regulatory agencies form an invisible architecture that continues regardless of who sits in the Oval Office or at a prime minister's desk. This is the real meaning of a shadow state. Not a cabal in a smoke-filled room, but a structure of continuity designed to survive turbulence at the top. Most people never see it because they're taught to look at personalities, not processes. We watch debates, count votes, and follow headlines about leaders as though they're the ones making every decision. In reality, most of the decisions that shape our lives, how money is created, how laws are enforced, which wars are fought, which technologies are surveilled, are crafted and implemented by career officials, private contractors, and embedded networks that are almost impossible to vote out. The intelligence community is the clearest example. Directors come and go, but the agencies themselves accumulate data, build infrastructure, and form relationships with corporations and foreign governments that endure for decades. Presidents may issue orders, but the interpretation and execution are in the hands of professionals who have been there long before the order was signed and will remain long after the president leaves. The same pattern exists in finance. Central bankers and treasury officials craft policies that ripple through the global economy, yet most citizens can't name them. These officials rotate between public posts and private banks, creating a revolving door of expertise and influence. They don't need a conspiracy to act in unison. Their incentives, training, and worldview are already aligned. This is how policy becomes culture: invisible, automatic, self-perpetuating. Contractors and lobbyists form another layer of the shadow state. Whole industries exist to supply governments with everything from weapons to data analytics. These corporations outlast administrations, fund think tanks, and write model legislation that is later introduced as law. Elected officials depend on them for information, technology, and campaign funding, giving them quiet leverage over policy outcomes. When crises erupt, these same networks step in with ready-made solutions that just happen to increase their reach and profits. None of this requires a secret meeting to coordinate. It's a system, an ecosystem of overlapping interests, habits, and unwritten rules. The shadow state is not hidden because it's illegal. It's hidden because it's boring, procedural, and cloaked in acronyms and legal jargon. It operates on continuity, not spectacle. Leaders rise and fall, but the system never stops moving. And yet, it's not invincible. Its greatest strength, and invisibility, is also its greatest weakness. When ordinary people begin to see the pattern, when journalists, whistleblowers, and researchers shine light into the machinery, its workings become visible. Once visible, it loses its aura of inevitability. Awareness breaks the spell. You can't vote out a bureaucracy, but you can expose it. You can force transparency. You can refuse to participate in its narratives. Understanding the shadow state means shifting your focus from personalities to processes, from headlines to networks, from speeches to budgets. It means seeing how every government inherits a permanent infrastructure, one that shapes policy far more than campaigns do. And it means recognizing that this structure is not a single villain, but a culture, a self-defending organism whose primary goal is its own survival. This is the first layer of the hidden hand. Before secret societies and elite meetings, before myths about ancient bloodlines, there is the everyday, grinding machinery of governance that never stops turning. It is less glamorous than legend, but more powerful than most imagine. It is the foundation upon which the rest of the hidden network rests. In the chapters ahead, we'll move beyond the shadow state into the other layers that sit atop it. The private roundtables, the exclusive conferences, the legends of secret societies. But to understand them, we must first grasp this. The most effective form of hidden power is not secret at all. It's right in front of us, working every day and visible only because we've been taught not to look. Part 2. The secret societies. The deeper you look into history, the more you realize that secrecy has always been the language of power. Long before satellites and surveillance, rulers controlled information through silence and ritual. To guard knowledge was to guard control. From ancient priesthoods and royal courts to guilds, brotherhoods, and lodges, the pattern remains. Those who understand the system meet quietly to shape the world outside of it. The term secret society carries a heavy echo. It suggests whispers, symbols, and hidden agendas. But most began with ordinary goals: to preserve knowledge, protect trade secrets, or discuss forbidden ideas. The Freemasons started as stoneworkers safeguarding craft techniques. The Rosicrucians sought to unify science and spirituality. Even the Bavarian Illuminati of 1776, now legendary in myth, originally wanted to challenge monarchy and church domination through reason. Yet, as history proves, ideals are fragile when placed near power. What begins as enlightenment can turn into influence. By the 18th century, Europe's lodges were no longer just places for philosophy. They became networks for the elite. Nobles, bankers, and politicians joined under the banner of fraternity, but behind the scenes, ideas became alliances. Revolutions were planned, monarchs advised, empires guided. Their influence was never absolute, yet it was enough to shape the tempo of nations. The power of a secret society has never been in armies or governments. It lies in access. One conversation behind closed doors can alter a generation. The Illuminati, banned after only a decade, lived on as legend. Whether it truly survived or not no longer mattered. It had become an idea, a symbol of hidden power guiding events unseen. Every unexplained shift in global politics, every sudden invention, every mysterious fortune seemed to trace back to the Illuminati. Truth mixed with fiction until they became indistinguishable. In that blur, myth became a tool. The powerful discovered that the idea of a secret society could be as useful as the real thing. While the public chased phantoms, genuine networks operated unnoticed. Modern power doesn't require secret handshakes or oaths under candlelight. Today's lodges are digital, their sigils replaced by logos and encrypted communications. Yet the psychology is the same. Control information, limit membership, build influence through trust and exclusivity. The rituals changed form, not function. Private roundtables, exclusive conferences, and policy forums play the same role that temples and lodges once did. Selective spaces where global strategies are tested away from public view. Still, traces of the old orders remain embedded in our culture. The symbols carved on currency, the architecture of capitals, the alignment of monuments, each whispers of an era when knowledge itself was sacred and dangerous. Whether coincidence or design, the imagery persists because the pattern persists. Secrecy, once a shield for the oppressed, became the weapon of the elite. What makes secret societies so enduring is not proof but mystery. The unknown invites imagination, and imagination is a powerful currency. It allows the narrative of control to thrive without ever being proven. Every generation inherits its own version of the Illuminati, a story to explain the unseen hand behind global events. But what if the truth is less theatrical and more strategic? What if the real secret societies are simply networks of influence hiding behind ordinary institutions, operating through trust, access, and discretion? The legends survive because they mirror a reality too complex to track, that a small group of connected individuals can steer systems much larger than themselves. Whether through finance, media, or technology, concentrated power functions like a brotherhood, not bound by blood or symbols, but by shared interest and silence. Secret societies in this sense never disappeared, they evolved. They stopped meeting in candlelit basements and began meeting at summits. They stopped speaking in codes and started using policy language. The secrecy remains, but now it's disguised as professionalism. The question isn't whether the Illuminati exists today. The real question is, do we live inside its modern descendant? A world where decisions are still made out of sight and we mistake transparency for truth? In the next chapter, we'll step into the present. The private conferences, foundations, and policy circles where the world's economic and political agendas are quietly aligned. The new lodges of the global age. Part 3. The modern roundtables. As the world industrialized, secrecy changed its costume. The candlelit lodges of old became glass-walled boardrooms. The whispered oaths of brotherhood were replaced with invitations, credentials, and non-disclosure clauses. The players were the same: financiers, generals, executives, but the language of power had evolved. No longer cloaked in myth, it hid in professionalism. The new gatherings of influence no longer needed secrecy. They had something stronger: exclusivity. After 2 world wars, a small circle of thinkers and bankers realized that nations could be guided not only by treaties, but by conversation. If they could gather the right people quietly, privately, they could steer the planet without ever appearing to rule it. In 1954, that vision became the Bilderberg meeting. About 120 leaders from politics, banking, energy, media, and academia met at a hotel in the Netherlands to discuss Western unity. Officially, it was cooperation. Unofficially, it became the symbol of shadow diplomacy. There are no transcripts, no votes, no cameras, only discussions that later echo through policy and markets. In an age of information, silence itself feels like confirmation. Bilderberg's strength is not proof of control, but the credibility that secrecy gives it. Across the Atlantic, the Council on Foreign Relations in New York became the intellectual engine of U.S. foreign policy. Founded in 1921, it links presidents, cabinet officials, generals, and editors inside one feedback loop. The CFR does not issue commands, it defines consensus. Its reports and journals quietly shape what future leaders will call common sense. When everyone in power reads the same material, ideology disappears behind expertise. In 1973 came the Trilateral Commission, created by David Rockefeller and Zbigniew Brzezinski, to coordinate policy among America, Europe, and Japan. Its mission sounded noble: global stability through cooperation, but stability and control often look identical. The Commission blurred the line between democracy and management, between representation and oversight. Then arrived the Digital Age Summit, the World Economic Forum in Davos. Cameras are welcome, slogans inspiring, but real decisions happen offstage, at the private dinners and side sessions where business and government merge. Davos is not secrecy disguised as openness. It is openness curated to conceal depth. Across these gatherings, the pattern repeats. The same surnames, the same institutions, the same worldview. They don't conspire, they coordinate. They meet not to seize control, but to maintain it, to keep the system predictable and profitable for those who built it. In that sense, the modern roundtables are the evolution of secret societies, where power once hid behind ritual, it now hides behind policy. Critics call it the architecture of soft power, a web so elegant it needs no enforcement. Each generation is invited into the same circle: new tech founders, new financiers, new ministers trained to think in global terms. Leadership becomes succession, not change. Whether these networks preserve peace or monopolize it depends on perspective, but their endurance is undeniable. They have outlasted wars, recessions, and elections. The names on the guest list shift, yet the ideology of managed globalization remains constant. While the public argues about politics and borders, trade, debt, defense, and data are aligned long before ballots are cast. This is how modern lodges rule, not through force but through frameworks. They shape what governments can choose before voters ever decide what they want. The old Illuminati faded into legend, but its function survived, translated into conferences, boards, and initiatives that define the modern order. The architecture of power no longer needs shadows. It thrives in daylight, disguised as dialogue. In the next chapter, we descend into the machinery itself, the media empires, algorithms, and financial systems that transform cooperation into control and consent into code. Part 4. The tools of control power used to be measured in armies and gold. Now it's measured in information. In the digital age, whoever shapes perception controls reality itself. The architects of influence no longer need to command nations. They just need to program belief. Their weapons are not tanks or treaties, they're headlines, hashtags, and hidden algorithms. Every empire learns to manage stories. Ancient kings had scribes, modern elites have media conglomerates. A handful of corporations own nearly every major news outlet, film studio, and publishing house on Earth. Their logos differ, but their boards overlap. Through repetition and framing, they decide not only what the public knows, but what it forgets. When every screen shows the same image, truth becomes consensus and dissent becomes noise. This is the first layer of control: narrative. Stories define possibility. They set the boundaries of acceptable thought. If people believe a crisis, they will demand the solution prepared in advance. If they believe the system works, they will defend it even when it fails. The most successful propaganda isn't forced, it's volunteered. You share it yourself because you think it's yours. The second layer is technology. Our devices record every word, every search, every location. In exchange for connection, we surrendered privacy, the last territory of freedom. What began as innovation became instrumentation. Data isn't collected, it's mined, processed, and sold to shape behavior. Advertising was just the prototype. Now prediction is the product. Algorithms decide what you see, who you meet, even what you think about next. Choice still exists, but it's quietly guided. A digital shepherd herds billions with invisible fences. Then comes finance, the oldest tool dressed in modern code. Money once represented effort, now it represents permission. Every transaction passes through a system monitored by banks, governments, and payment platforms. Accounts can be frozen with a keystroke, currencies inflated with a policy, livelihoods erased with a policy update. The same technology that promised freedom, blockchains, digital IDs, programmable money, can become the ultimate leash if centralized. Control the code and you control the crowd. The fourth layer is surveillance. Cameras line every street. Microphones live in every home, sensors in every pocket. Security was the justification, compliance was the outcome. The old dream of total information awareness is no longer fantasy. It's infrastructure. When behavior is predictable, rebellion is preventable. You don't need to ban ideas when algorithms can bury them. Finally, the fifth layer, division. Fear fragments what truth unites. Algorithmic outrage keeps populations distracted, angry, and exhausted. While people fight over headlines, the real systems of power adjust quietly in the background. Division isn't a glitch in the design, it's the design itself. A divided public is easier to manage than an informed one. None of these tools exist in isolation. Media tells the story, technology collects the data, finance enforces obedience, surveillance ensures visibility, and division maintains chaos. Together they form a feedback loop of control, efficient, adaptive, self-sustaining. It doesn't need conspiracy to function, it just needs participation. The machine runs on attention, and every click is a vote of consent. Yet even perfect systems have flaws. Transparency cuts both ways. The same networks used for manipulation also spread awareness. The same code that tracks can liberate. Every leaked file, every open source ledger, every decentralized network is a crack in the facade. Light seeps through data. The truth is viral, and once seen, it can't be unseen. Control thrives on invisibility, but invisibility is dying. As awareness expands, the architect's power weakens. Their greatest weapon, our ignorance, is disappearing. In the final chapter, we'll witness what happens when the illusion collapses. When the public sees the machinery, the myths fall silent and the balance of power begins to shift. Part 5, The Great Illusion. For centuries, humanity has lived inside an illusion so vast it became invisible. It promised freedom yet demanded obedience. It sold choice yet scripted the options. It told us we were the masters of our world while quietly measuring every breath we took within it. This illusion isn't magic, it's management. It's the quiet art of shaping perception so perfectly that people never realize they're being guided. The illusion begins with trust. We trust our institutions, our currencies, our systems of order, the same way ancient villagers trusted their priests and kings. Trust is the most valuable resource on Earth. It builds empires, backs currencies, and binds societies together. But when trust is engineered, it becomes a leash. The illusion of freedom is not maintained by force, but by faith in those who administer it. It continues through comfort. As long as life feels convenient, few question the structure providing it. We trade privacy for access, liberty for security, authenticity for approval. The illusion doesn't need to hide truth. It just needs to keep us busy enough not to look for it. Every screen, every distraction, every microdose of digital dopamine keeps the system fed. The people stay entertained, the machine stays alive. Then there's division, the oldest magic trick in power's playbook. The illusion thrives when people see enemies in each other instead of architects above them. The system doesn't care which side wins. It only needs both sides to fight. Each argument, each outrage, each wave of chaos strengthens the illusion's hold. While we debate symptoms, the designers remain invisible, but illusions fade when their patterns repeat. People are beginning to see the cycle. Fear, crisis, control, repeat. The same rhythm echoes through every century, every system, every nation. The faces change, but the choreography remains the same. Humanity is waking up to the choreography itself, and once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. Technology, once the architect's weapon, is becoming the key to their undoing. Decentralized systems, open source code, and collective transparency are exposing the illusion's seams. The light of awareness spreads faster than censorship can contain it. And with that awareness comes a shift. From obedience to observation, from reaction to reflection. The illusion cracks when people stop reacting to the show and start watching the stage. The great illusion isn't collapsing because of rebellion, it's collapsing because of recognition. Power can manipulate emotion, but it cannot survive understanding. The moment people realize they've been participating in their own containment, the spell breaks. The system feeds on compliance, and awareness starves it. Now the architects face a paradox of their own making. The more they try to tighten control through surveillance, censorship, and fear, the faster people notice the design. The illusion they built to protect stability has become the very signal of manipulation. Each new layer of control reveals the one beneath it, until the entire structure stands naked in the light it tried to hide from. When that happens, the question shifts from who controls us to why did we ever consent? The power pyramid inverts. No longer top-down but networked, decentralized, human. The true revolution isn't political, it's perceptual. It's the quiet shift from dependence to self-direction, from hierarchy to awareness. The world changes not when new rulers rise, but when people stop needing rulers at all. The illusion was never about oppression, it was about distraction. Keep humanity asleep long enough and it will never remember what it's capable of. But memory is returning. People are connecting beyond the systems designed to divide them. Ideas flow faster than control can catch them. Truth moves like electricity through the global grid, awakening millions one spark at a time. The great illusion is ending, not with chaos, but with clarity. The curtain is being pulled back, not by rebels, but by realization. The stage lights are fading, the actors are stepping aside, and humanity is beginning to see the audience it truly is. Billions of observers capable of shaping their own story. The show is almost over, and when the illusion finally dissolves, the only question left will be, what reality will we create next? The curtain falls. Every illusion ends the same way, not with violence, but with vision. For centuries, the hidden hand moved the world from behind the curtain. It used fear, money, and secrecy to sculpt belief. But now the curtain is falling. The people are no longer content to watch the play. They've stepped onto the stage asking who wrote the script and why it never changes. The architects built their empire on silence, but silence cannot survive awareness. Once you see the board, you can never again be a pawn. The power was never in their hands. It was always in ours, hidden beneath distraction, waiting to be remembered. And now that memory is returning. The curtain falls, the truth stands exposed, and the audience becomes the author of what comes next. Subscribe to LTL Productions for more stories that reveal the systems shaping power, money, and consciousness. See beyond the illusion. See the board, because the next story has already begun.